Let's say you've been trying to build confidence, either at work, at school, with friends, in your personal life, and you tell yourself, oh, okay, I just need to believe in myself more. I just need to believe in myself more because that is the key to confidence. But the thing is, belief isn't what creates that confidence at all. It's action that does. And the reason why so many people tend to lose their confidence over time and they feel like it and they find that it doesn't last is because they've been relying on things like motivation. And motivation tends to be super fickle. It comes and goes. It's very dependent on how we're feeling and our emotions, whereas with discipline, it tends to stay. And most people think that confidence is a feeling you need to have before you act, but lasting confidence, it's something that's built through discipline itself. And you do it by showing up and doing the hard things, even though you don't feel ready, you're scared, you're tired, you're not in the mood, which is a big one, especially for me. So I want to show you why discipline builds that confidence. It builds that confidence that really lasts, and how you can do it for yourself, because I think it's such an important, like, important doesn't even cover it, but it is a crucial skill that we need to know. A fear that I have is that I'm going to get to the end of my life and I'm going to have many regrets about things that I never did because I was too scared, or I was too scared, I was too afraid, I was not in the mood, and I missed on these opportunities. I don't think knowing the person I am, I don't think I'm going to get to the end of my life and be like, oh, I wish I never even tried that. I'm most likely going to be like, I can't believe I didn't use that opportunity. I didn't take that time to do the things that I really wanted to do when I could, because I was just scared, or I was just tired, or I was just sleepy, or I wasn't in the mood. So why doesn't confidence rely on motivation? Motivation is a very, very, very fickle and emotional fuel source. It is unstable by nature, and it rises when things are really exciting. And you probably have noticed that when you start a new project or a new thing, you are so excited to do it. You put in the hours, you put in the time, you even feel you feel like it bubbling inside of you, like you're so ready to do this thing. And then a couple days later or a couple weeks later, it comes crashing down and it fades super fast. All that excitement and that motivation and even the confidence just kind of, it gets obliterated. Their confidence is tied to how good they feel, not how committed they necessarily are. Not to say that you're not committed to what you want to achieve, but I have been committed, so committed to certain projects, but my mood greatly sways my level of commitment from time to time. The thing with discipline is that it works a bit differently. It's not emotional, it's behavioral. And discipline says I'll act according to my values, not just my feelings. And that steadiness is what gives discipline and confidence its roots. It makes it very predictable. It reduces the uncertainty. It makes it less accidental, and confidence comes from the action. It comes from you being able to prove to yourself that, okay, I've done this in the past, and because I've done it before, I can now use this experience as evidence that I can do it again. Like, there's no reason for me to not be able to do it again. I literally just did it. I did it last week. I did it the week before. I did it last month. I did it yesterday. I did it 5 minutes ago. And all of this is just to say that confidence comes from action. It comes from you proving to yourself that you can do it because you've done it before, and every time you act with discipline, you just build that up in small ways, and you give your brain proof that, okay, I can trust myself. I've done this before. I'm going to be able to do it again, and I said that's what I would do, and then I did it, and that is my evidence. And that's where that level of self efficacy really starts to develop. It is the belief that you can handle what is to come, what is ahead, even if it's scary or tired, it's uncertain, you have low confidence, you have low motivation, because you've already handled all the things that have happened in the past. And confidence isn't about hoping you'll succeed next time, it's about knowing, okay, I've succeeded before, and that knowledge only comes from doing the things that I said I was going to do, and then doing them again and doing them again. Motivation is the thing that talks, and discipline is the thing that shows, like, puts its money where its mouth is and shows you, it proves itself. As you keep taking the disciplined action and you keep doing those things that can be a bit tricky to do, you move through these 4 stages of competence, and competence is what builds that confidence. And I'm not going to go through all the stages because I know you guys are very onto it and you're going to be able to go and look them up yourselves. But the first stage is when you just don't know what you don't know. You're completely lost. The stage right after that, which is one of the important ones, is you know that something is missing, and you're working on it. You then realize like how hard the thing actually is, and you start building that awareness, and you're working on it. You're working on that hard thing. The level above that is, okay, you're doing the hard thing. It takes a lot of effort. It's draining, but you're doing it. And then the 4th thing is you can do the thing to a high level of mastery without even having to think about it. And discipline is the bridge between that 2nd stage and that 3rd stage. It is the hardest part. You're jumping from you now know how hard it is to the point where you're starting to get a bit of mastery down, but you do have to put in a lot of effort. And this is the part where most people quit. They give up because it's really exhausting, it's tiring, it's like they're not feeling like doing it, they're not in the mood. And every time you cross that gap and you actually do end up like doing the things that you said you're going to do, your confidence becomes far less about luck and more about that evidence that you're trying to collect. And it's at this point where you'll notice a big shift in the way that you start to think about these things. You start to think about your goals. You start to think about the ways you ask questions, and it's an identity shift that really lasts. And so you'll notice it. You'll stop saying things like, oh, I want to do really tough things. And you'll start saying things like, I'm the kind of person who shows up even when it's tough. And it's when you get that shift from outcome desire to identity definition, that's where your confidence really starts to come forward. When confidence lives in that outcome desire, it's very fragile, it's very fickle. You only feel good when you're winning, and when you're not winning, you feel like shit. When it lives in identity, when your confidence lives in identity, it's stable because it's not about the outcomes anymore. You could still fail, and I failed over and over and over again, but it's my confidence hasn't wavered. I know it's not necessarily because I am a failure. It's because I didn't have the knowledge, the skill, or whatever it was, but I was still trying. So there's still room for improvement. I can still do it, and it's fine that if it failed, but I'm still going to keep trying. And it's when your confidence lives in identity, things are just no longer about the outcomes. It's about who you are now. The goals don't even matter. It's like, who are you becoming? And that's how discipline builds the confidence at last, because you're no longer waiting to feel confident. You've become the kind of person who acts confidently, even when you don't. So if you take any one thing away from this video, let it be this. You don't need to feel confident to start. In fact, it's probably one of the last things you need to be feeling. You just need to start and let discipline build the proof your mind needs to trust you again. Because every time you show up when it's hard, when you're tired, when you're not in the mood, when you're stressed, when you're drained, every time you choose doing the hard thing over not doing it, you're building a habit. You're building evidence, and you're telling yourself that you can rely on yourself even when things aren't going the best. And that's the kind of confidence no setback can shake. So the next time you catch yourself waiting to, I don't know, feel ready, remind yourself that you don't need motivation to move. You just need to move. And the more you move, the more you'll see that confidence isn't found, it's earned. And if this helped you rethink confidence in any way, hit subscribe. We're building that kind of growth here, and I want to see you all along for that.